Okay, and I didn't plan on doing on this video, but wanted to have a little bit of my say on the PS5 increase. Now, as most people probably already know, that the PS5 is gonna increase, whether it's the Blu-ray drive model or the diskless digital model, as you like to call it. It's gonna go up in price. Now it's pretty much gonna go up everywhere, depending on where you are in the world. I think Japan, it's gonna hit in September, and then the only place that, from what we know, that's not gonna be affected by the price increase is the actual is actually in America when it comes to the sales of the PlayStation PS5 consoles. And there's quite a lot of people who are kind of outraged and shocked that they've increased the PS5. Now, according to PlayStation or Sony, they say that it's to do with the rate of inflation across the world. Now, I'm not sure if I kind of I mean, I do believe that there's been some kind of a effect, which is pretty much obvious. But I do think that some of these companies now are just basically trying to take advantage of the situation and what's going on, so they can make more, money. And then what we've known throughout history is that whenever there's a crisis, the poorer get poorer, and then the richer get richer. So there's always somebody exploiting it. Similar to to what happened with the vaccines, to do with COVID, where obviously that companies were exploiting that with shares and stuff like that. And then while people were dying, obviously at least you didn't have to sit there and pay to get the jab done. So I suppose so that's good enough one way, but it's the fact that people use things to kind of exploit what they need to do to make profit. Now, I've got no problems with companies making profits on and stuff like that, because I mean that's what companies are there to do. I mean, you have to please these shareholders, and take it to somebody that's got family members that have got shares in like banks, where sometimes you can make a lot of money from it, and then so in 1 year you can lose a little. So the whole point of it is to make money. So you can't be kind of negative, but it's when sometimes these companies kind of take the mickey in what they do. Now, as people know, it's still difficult across the world to get a PlayStation 5, whether it's a digital or the Blu-ray version of it, this version of it. And then they're doing this kind of situation now, where obviously you're increasing the price of it, but someone's having a party, and people are struggling, to get a PS5, and then now they're going to rise the cost of it. And then at the end of the day, as outrageous as most people are, that people are still going to buy it, because it's a sought after commodity. So people will still buy it, and that tends to happen with everything. Where like with what happened with Apple when a couple of years ago, they increased their prices on their products, and there was outrage, but yet people still sit there and buy the latest iPhones and iPads and computers and accessories, etc. But we still buy it. I mean, these companies know that. It's not like they're gonna be outraged and then people go turn and go, right, I'm not gonna buy that particular product now, and then it kind of teaches them a lesson. So they don't kind of care. Now, a few months, I think last year, just over a year ago, Sony were boasting about that they were making record profits from the PS5 and the amount of PS5s they had that they were shipping, and how it's on course, to eventually overtake the PS4. So I can't see how it could be all of a sudden now that they're saying that unfortunately they're having to do it because of money, which is what they're making it sound like it is, when they've admitted that they've been in record profits. The PS5, although they can't make enough of them, and then there's a chip shortage, they're still in record. They're still sitting there making money. So I just don't understand, why they're doing this. Now, you get the fanboys who are defending it, which I don't understand. I don't understand why, as a fanboy, why you would want to defend them increasing the price of it, because for the consumer, it makes it harder for the consumer to buy. And then some people say, oh well, it's only 30 quid, but especially in what we're living in a crisis, a cost crisis, that that you have to pay so much for it, and then people are telling you, well, it's only £30. Now it's easy to say that if you already have a PS5, or you can afford to pay that kind of money for a console. Now bear in mind, these are luxury items. They're not must-need items, in the sense that obviously you need like a fridge and food to line your stomach with, so you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But I just don't understand how you get some of these fanboys, these hardcore Sony fanboys, that will defend it. It's kind of a similar thing with these Marvel, Disney fanboys that you see across the internet, or on that site I keep mentioning, Comic Book Marvel, where they keep bootlicking these companies, and where they don't, unless you work for them or got shares in that company, then I just don't understand why why people defend it. Because for the consumer, as a consumer practice, it's not particularly very good, if you see where I'm coming from. Now for me, I was gifted a PS5, so it's not going to affect me in any shape or form. But it still doesn't mean that, even though I am a fan, it doesn't mean, and I've already got one, that I can't speak out against something. Even if you're a fan of a company, whether it's Apple, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Disney, Marvel, DC, doesn't mean you can't speak out against something if you believe something is kind of wrong. Now we know that so far that Microsoft have, or Xbox, or whatever you want to call them, they're basically not going. They've already put statements saying that they're not going to increase the prices of the Xbox Series S and Series X, and Nintendo aren't doing that for the Switch. For the very Switch lights and OLEDs and the normal new Switch, as they call it. So that's a plus, but you know what I mean. As I said, it's not a particularly kind of good precedent. And as for my Sony will get away with it, because it's just Sony, because obviously they're a big company. Everybody wants to play the current games that are on there, or the big games are going to be coming on there, like God of War, Ragnarok, and all the other future big games. So, and then plus, because it's in such huge demand in getting the console, in wanting one, people will still sit there and pay over the odds to get one. So yeah, I don't agree with what Sony's business practice. I think what they could have done is either at least put an extra control pad in there, put in a game, or at least put in PlayStation Plus Premium and giving you a 12-month subscription to kind of as a little bit of a sweetener, because of the fact they've increased it. And I think that would have gone some way in kind of taking off from the bitter aftertaste of what they've done. Now we already know that they're releasing the VR2, which we thought was coming out this year, but looks like it's coming out 2023, and there's no price on that, and that's going to be expensive. They're also releasing the DualSense Edge, which you'll be able to cut, which will have customizable joysticks, triggers at the back, and they haven't told you the price of that. So if you compare it to the Elite Xbox pad, which is about £190 in the UK, unless you buy it with the Elite 2, that's not going to be particularly kind of very cheap. So it's kind of smart that obviously that they put the prices and stuff up. You've got the VR2, no price on that, and then the DualSense Edge, no cost of how much that's going to cost. So it's kind of a bit all pill to swallow. But if you're a gamer, I guess, and a fan, and you're hardcore and you really want it, you're kind of going to pay it. But yeah, I don't think in the long term, I think people buy the consoles anyway, regardless, and they'll sit there and they'll do as they're told. But it's kind of good on a PR kind of a look for Sony. It's not really a good look when the other companies kind of aren't doing it. So I know with the Meta virtual headset stuff, they had to put the price of that up. So, you know, as I said, for me, it's not kind of a very good look for Sony in terms of what they've done with the PS5, considering that it's only been just over 2 years, and usually consoles drop down in price, and the software is already aged already. So yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to change, or I don't expect it to be a temporary price, because as we know, once you keep a price high, as we've seen in the increase of food and products, and generally speaking, the cost of living, especially when it comes to takeaway foods, they're not going to drop the price of it down, because people will be too used to paying it and then making more profits. But at the end of the day, it's all about making profits. So anyway, that's my rant about the PS5. Again, I'm not really happy about it, but let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care, and bye for now.